I don't even know how to start this. Where do you start when it's about your entire life? Life is full of moments that shape us, and here are some of mine. Each micro moment, each big life event, everything that we love to do and the people that we spend it with are all contributing to the person that we end up becoming in each moment of our lives. And that's ever evolving depending on the experiences that we have and the perspectives that we gain, whether that's from traveling, trying a new hobby, meeting new people. We're constantly learning how to show up in this world and who we want to be, who we want to be known as, and how we want to contribute to society. It can be scary to be seen in your authentic expression, especially if you're afraid of being judged or rejected from a group. But I've learned that the more I step into being my true self and facing my fears, I've learned that being me is the greatest gift that I can give to the world. I genuinely love living this life of mine, and I just want to share every bit of it with everybody I can. And through all the exploration I've done and the passions I've pursued, it's all been leading me to something bigger. And a new chapter is unfolding, and I'm excited to share it with all of you today. Hi, I'm Katie, and you might know me as Sunnyside KT, or Catherine with a C, Katie with a K, as confusing as that might be. Confusing with a K. How do I want to show up in the world? That's something that I've been really leaning into. And I'm currently in Kauai, Hawaii. And this is a place that I'm now starting to realize is a healing vortex. A place where you go to die. And for some people that's figuratively, other people that's literally. Hopefully for me it's just figuratively. But it's also a place to be rebirthed. And we go through these phases in our life where maybe we're at a crossroads, or we're trying to understand or figure out parts of ourselves, or maybe we feel like something's missing, or there's something that we're not fulfilling or being fulfilled by. And so, I've been nomadic for the past 7 months now, and that's kind of a crazy thing to think about looking back, because if I would have been asked to plan my life out like a year ago and be like, where do you think you would be a year from now? What do you think you'd be doing? Who would you be with? And how would you feel? There's no way that I would have been able to fathom or come up with where my life is right now. And that's in all the ways. And so I find that it's hard for me sometimes to make goals for myself, because I don't know where I'm actually going to end up. And I don't want to constrict myself from potentially being someone or doing something or being somewhere that is where I'm actually meant to be versus where I think, or where my ego mind thinks that I'm meant to be. And so I'm really finding out, though, at the same time, that I have opened myself up to endless possibilities of what life could look like. And with that being said, I find myself being very open to wherever I'm meant to be and wherever the universe takes me. And in that process of being open, while it's been so beautiful, and I've been places that I couldn't have ever imagined, like I said, I find that I feel a sense of feeling lost in that process. And I know the cliche of like, you have to be lost to go find yourself. And I think that there's some truth in that. And I think also I'm at this point right now where I'm really learning how to get clear on what it is that I want, how it is I want to show up, and who it is that I want to be. And to give some backstory about me and who I am. So I'm Katie. I'm originally from Bloomfield Hills, Michigan. Went to school at Marquette University for 6 years. I did my bachelor's in my undergrad in biomedical sciences, and then continued on to get my master's in physician assistant. So graduated from there, moved down to St. Petersburg, Florida, and started a job in regenerative medicine and also functional medicine. And was doing that for a year and decided that I didn't actually like being an employee and that there was so much more that I wanted to explore in life. And so I felt like my gifts were best served in a different way. And I still wanted to help people, and I still had all this knowledge and wisdom about health and how to live a great life and how to guide people through that. But I still felt like there was something missing. And I was sitting in my office one day and I just was like, I feel like I've made it. Like, I'm at this point where people say you make it, where you have the job, you have the success, you have the finances, you have all the stuff, living in a beautiful place. And I'm like, I just feel like there's something missing. And there was nothing wrong with what I was doing. I was doing really great things. But for me at that moment in my life, I just felt like there was something more I was meant to explore about myself and in life. So I decided to go independent, became an independent contractor, and then decided to start my own business. And with that, it's been an incredible journey. And I was, also continuing down my own spiritual path. St. Pete's has a very spiritual community if you are open to exploring it. And so I was, and I did. And it helped open me up in so many ways to understanding spirituality and just like what it means to live a life as a human. And I connected with some awesome people who also had incredible stories, and I felt like finally I was part of a community where I felt like I belonged. And growing up, I really didn't have that in different ways. I was always kind of the friend that bounced around between friend groups and never really felt like I had my place. I had so many different passions, so many different interests that I was like in the music group, then I was in the sports group, and I was in the artsy group, and then I was in the academic group, and then the science group. And like, not that that was bad by any means. I mean, I learned so many different things from so many different people, and also learned what it means to be an individual participating in a group in society. So many different rabbit holes I could go with that. But basically, fast forward, I'm in St. Pete and decided that I wanted to open my own business. So I decided to do health and life coaching. And so with that, I've been coaching people in a way of focusing mostly on detoxification, because I thought about what's a way that I can help people that is like where I would start. And what's the common thread? Well, if we're exposed to so many toxins in our environment, and that's physical toxins, it's mental toxins, meaning like what beliefs do we hold on to, what stories do we hold on to that were taught to us that are kind of getting in the way or causing us to get in our own way of achieving the things we want to achieve or having the life that we want. So mental toxins, and also emotional toxins or stored emotions in the body, not necessarily toxic, but just stored emotions that are asking to be released to free ourselves in these new ways. And then also these energetic blockages that might be keeping us stuck in other ways as well. So it's a very holistic program, and we do cleansing, from parasite cleansing and dietary changes to, shifting those mindset beliefs and doing the energetic purges and cleanses. And so, yeah, it's been great. I've done a couple rounds of that so far, and I've seen awesome results with my clients, and it's just really fulfilling to do that. And so also, with that process of going through coaching, I created my program, I created my course, and still though, I'm like, there's something else that I feel like I want to do to help people. And before I even went into the coaching route, I started a YouTube series, which started off as an Instagram series called Katie in the Kitchen, where I would cook with people and interview them, and it was super fun. And with that, we would start off at the grocery store, and I'd be like, hey, what are you cooking today? And they would say, oh, I'm making this, or I'm not sure. And I would say, well, do you want to cook together? Maybe I can help you. And so then we would go through the grocery store, and then we'd go either to their place or mine, and we'd start cooking, and we'd make a beautiful recipe together. And I would teach them about cooking, and we'd also talk about life. I'd kind of interview them, but in a not so interviewee way, like more just having a conversation about food and about life and about who they are and, you know, what lights them up and what their relationship with their health and food is. And so I didn't originally wanted to do a podcast, but I'm like, there's so many people doing podcasts. Like, what can I do that's different? That is my like Katie flair. So decided to do Katie in the Kitchen. And so I did about, 17 episodes maybe of that. And I also felt kind of burnt out because I notice a pattern with myself is that when I get really excited about something, I go all in and I like kind of burn it out because I just get so excited and I want to learn everything there is to know about it, or I want to go all in and give my fullest, best self forward and put my heart into it. And so that's what I was doing. And then I was like, man, I'm spending like 25 hours like filming and editing and posting these videos, and it's like a part-time job and I'm not getting paid for it, and that's taking time away from me working with clients and other things. But I'm like, man, but I'm still like getting to educate people, and this is still fun for me and it's entertaining. And so took a bit of a break from that, and then I've been doing, instead of episodes weekly, I was doing kind of monthly, and then kind of spacing it out the past couple months to focus on other things. And then recently I was reached out to by a producer who loved the idea and wanted to make it into a real show. And so we were talking about, you know, pitch decks to investors and like planning out series and like all this really cool stuff, and talking about books and like getting on Good Morning America and like all these different PR things. And I was getting really excited about it. And then something about the producer and like what we were working on just didn't feel aligned with me in the moment. And so I took a step back from that and decided to keep going with my coaching. But then something in me was still like, man, like I planted the seed of what could be possible with that. And so fast forward, you know, moved back to St. Pete after traveling around to Europe, and was in Michigan for like over a month during the hurricanes, and then was in Cabo and Vegas and back to California and like all these places. Was back in St. Pete for a little bit, and then was like, okay, what's my next move? And one of my business partners, I work with him assisting some of the projects that he's doing. He's like, hey, I'm going to be out in Hawaii and would love for you to join us, me and my girlfriend, who's going to be here for nurse practitioner clinicals. And I was like, my lease at the house that I was at was coming up, and what better way to start the new year than in Hawaii? So I show up, and also I'm realizing this is a very big stream of consciousness, but this is also kind of like, this is me showing up as me, and you'll get to know that as these videos continue. So anyway, I show up in Hawaii, and I'm like, okay, I'm here, let's go. And for some people, this would be their biggest dream, to be able to be in Hawaii and work online or work with a business partner, or like also just kind of go to the beach, eat poke, get some shaved ice, go surfing. Like, it sounds like a dream. Living in a beautiful house in one of the nicest neighborhoods on the island. Like, what more could you want? And something in me was like, why am I here and not feeling more grateful? Why am I not like getting so excited to just like look at all the plants and the mountains and just want to immerse into it all? And don't get me wrong, there were definitely many moments still that I'm like, oh my God, look at this fruit, look at this tree, look at the mountains, look at this view, because that's just who I am. And I'm always going to find the joy, I'm always going to find the good in everything. But still, like, there was something in me that was like, there's something missing. And it's a similar feeling that I'd felt when I decided to leave my full-time job and transition into something else, and to kind of paving my own path. And I'm realizing that me being here, I'm working with them, and it's distracting me in a way from me focusing on the work that I want to do with my business, because I'm feeling like my energy is being diluted into all these different things. And so when I first got here, I've, gotten so many lessons already of receiving, that I'm receiving so many lessons. And before I even knew about Hawaii, I was feeling into the new year, and I'm like, I have been traveling so much. I really just don't feel like moving around. I feel like just being and sitting and contemplating and connecting with myself and tapping even deeper into my intuition and just feeling that calling to do that. And I was starting to feel unsure of how I wanted to move forward with my business, because as much as I enjoy doing this detox program, I felt like there were still more ways that I could help people, or more programs I could create, or other forms of information, like an education. Like, education's a huge passion of mine. I love learning. And so, anyway, I'm still stream of consciousness, learning to love myself in that. And anyway, so yeah, I'm like, maybe going to Hawaii is that chance for me to just ground down and be with myself too. And little did I know that being here is exactly that. But what's been kicked up in me is so much. Like, I immediately got here and my face broke out in this rash that I thought that I'd cleared like a year ago. So that was interesting. And then I was like, okay, I'm going to do a 3-day fast, see if I can clear some inflammation. Did a 3-day fast, and my body was like, what the heck are we doing here? But also, you can see clearer now, and there's some lower inflammation, but your guts kind of reset a little bit, and now you have this new found love for slow eating and all these things. So that happened, and then another challenge. Then my business partner was like, hey, we're going to host a retreat in a week. Let's set it up. And having co-hosted and facilitated and been part of retreats before, I'm like, these are things that we normally plan like months in advance, because it takes a lot of work, because you have to plan out a lot of different things. And me being, a type A perfectionist was like, oh my God, I was like feeling all the pressure. And I was like, you know what? It's a challenge. We're going to do it. So we did it. And there were many moments that I'm like feeling super overwhelmed and unsure if this is the right move, and so many different things going through my mind. And there was a point, even I think it was like the day before people showed up, that I just like had a breakdown, and I was like, I feel so overwhelmed and so much is happening and I just need a break. And he was like, do you need a hug? And I was like, no, I need to just go cry. And I just like sat in my room and cried and like moved around a little bit and just like clear the energy of the pressure and just release all of that. And I felt better, but I'm like, I don't like that. I don't like the pressure of forcing things like super last minute. Like, that's just chaotic energy, and it's not for me. But I'm learning. And I learned that I could still do it. And people had a great time. And there was huge shifts that happened in everybody who attended, and myself included. So then, after the retreat, the last day of the retreat, I'm starting to feel sick, because I had kind of pushed myself a little bit too hard. My nervous system was bugging out, and also someone at the retreat was sick, and so I think I picked that up from him. And then the universe is like, okay, now you're going to just have the contrast of rest, and you're going to rest for like 4 to 5 days and just not do anything, because you need that. And this is going to give you time to practice what it feels like to just sit and do nothing. And I'm like, what does that feel like? What does that mean? I just literally do nothing. I feel so useless. And it's learning how to let go of the expectation of always needing to be doing something, but also practicing listening to the source, like listening to God, listening to the universe, whatever you want to call it, and listening to my own intuition inside of me to direct me forward of, how do you want to show up in the world? How do you want to live your life? Who do you want to be? And it's funny, like every time I think I got it, and I'm like, yeah, I know what I'm meant to do. I know why I'm here. I know the next step. It's always met with like the opposite of, I have no idea what I'm doing, and why am I here? What am I doing this for? And what lesson am I meant to be learning right now? And where is my value, and how do I help people? Where do I show up as? And I'm being super raw and honest and vulnerable right now with this because I want to show up as my truest self in every stage of my life, because if I didn't do that, then I would be a hypocrite. Because here I am teaching people how to come home to their true self, clearing the things that get in the way of that. And if I'm not doing that with myself, even when it's hard, even when I'm getting triggered to the max, even when I'm feeling super confused and overwhelmed, like, who am I showing up as then? Then if I'm not showing the realness, then I'm not being authentic, and that feels out of alignment with my values. And so I'm just being me. So thank you for receiving that. Thank you for listening. Thank you for hearing me and witnessing me in my expression. And I also trust that this is exactly what I'm meant to be saying right now, and the people that are watching this, the people that are witnessing this, something in what I'm saying and how I'm showing up is going to resonate with you. And we don't always know what that means. And there's such this stigma of, like, with social media, we have to show up a certain way, or we have to be a certain person. We have to make it look amazing, because then people are going to see that and think, wow, they're an amazing person, they have an amazing life, and I want to be like them. We've all done it. We've all idolized people that we see online. And of course, like, they're only showing a snapshot of their life, that you're not seeing the full picture. And so most people will share the happy things, not the sad things. Or if people are showing the sad things, maybe they want support, or they are being authentic, or maybe they want attention, whatever the motivating factor is. But either way, I've learned that what kind of impact I want to make is me being me in every form. And some people might say, why are you sharing these personal things on the internet? What about your safety? What about this? What about that? Or don't you care about your image, or, what people think about you? And honestly, I've spent way too much of my life caring about what people think, that I've neglected my own self in that process. And it comes and goes in waves. There's times, and I was talking to my friend Allie about this earlier, there's times where we're like, yeah, I'm just going to be me and be seen. And for her, that looks like her just going to an ecstatic dance and moving her body in whatever way that means. But then, as she goes off and go to a networking event, and she's just sitting in the corner, like, waiting for people to talk to her. And she's like, I don't know why it feels so different in different situations. And for me, that might be like, I can go to a conference and network like crazy and be at every single event and show up to every after party and just talk and connect with so many different people and interview Gary Brecka and be like, yeah, this is totally normal. This is just what I do. This is just who I am. And then at the same time, like, be walking around the neighborhood and be like afraid to talk to people. This is right at the side of the street. And it's just so silly. It's so silly. But this is the human experience that we get to live in, and we get to experience the contrast. And the theme of contrast keeps coming up in my life recently with everything that I've been going through. It's the contrast of, feeling really sick and feeling really healthy. And, even masculine and feminine polarity within myself and witnessing that in other people. It's the death and the rebirth. It's the light and the dark. It's like, but we need both. Like, we need to experience both. It's the speeding up and then the slowing down. It's like we need to experience both to know the distinction. And so I was also, part of the retreat was with Dr. Stephen Young. He was teaching us about the laws of the Hermetic laws, and one of them is the law of polarity, and understanding the difference and how we need both to see them and appreciate them and accept them for what they are. So, yeah, but the reason why I'm even having this video, why I'm talking and going to post this on YouTube, for the world to see, is because when I really ask myself what it is that I want to do and how I want to show up, it's being me, and it's also just being seen in that and expressing myself. I had a moment in the ceremony that we were doing last week. Is that last week? Yeah, last week. And I was just reminded of my own energy, my own essence. And I just like was crying because I was like, I'm so beautiful and I have so much to offer. And I love me. I love my energy and I love being with myself. Like, I was like, wow, like that's powerful. That I can connect back with myself and remember who I am and love the heck out of it. And I was like getting out of the ceremony and I was like looking around at everybody and everybody's like kind of like still in their own, experience. And I'm just like looking at Steve and I'm just laughing and I'm like, we're really just all here trying to come back to that. We're all just trying to remember who the heck we are. And I'm around a lot of entrepreneurs all the time, and a lot of entrepreneurs are trying to create a business or building something that's an expression of themselves or who they are or what they're doing. And what is that all for? Like, why? Like, why are we doing that? To make a lot of money? Like, to help people? To, not be told what to do? Like, there's so many different reasons, but ultimately, no matter what we're doing it to feel loved. We're doing it to remember who we are and to be an expression of that. And I think if we can all just remember that we don't need to do anything. We don't need to do anything beyond what we want to do. We don't need to be anybody other than who we are. And so when I think about, like, for example, to put this into context with coaching, I don't need to show up as a coach other than just being me. Yes, I'm helping guide people and leading them and educating them, but at the same time, why am I putting so much pressure on myself for them to get the best results possible? Because that's not really my responsibility. And I find that, being in the role of being a practitioner, being a PA and having patients, I was feeling responsible for their wellness, because I was like, wow, they're coming to me and they trust me and they want to learn from me, and they hold me at this place where they trust that I can help them. And if I can't, and if I don't know what to do, like, oof, or if they don't get better, that weighs on me because I feel like that's my responsibility to help them. But I've learned that that's personalization, and all I need to do is show up as my best self and be in my authentic expression, and that's enough. And how they're receiving that and what they're doing with that is on them. And the results that they get is ultimately for their best, highest good as well, even if it's not what they expected. And so it takes a lot of pressure off of myself, but I think that in general, when it comes to living a life of authenticity, it's learning how to love and accept yourself exactly as you are and giving yourself permission to be that. And that's it. And, Stephen was sharing, like, what if just being incarnated, what if just being alive is your purpose? And whatever comes from that is a bonus. And I started I had heard something like that before and been like, yeah, of course, like, we don't really need to have this greater purpose that we're all like trying to find or search for. Just being you is enough. But also, like, what does that even mean? To just be you? Like, how does that look? And so I'm continuously trying to remind myself of that and moving forward in life from that place, depending on where I'm at in my life and in my journey. And so that could look completely different today than it will tomorrow, when it will in 3 years from now. It also looks completely different from 5 years ago. And so, yeah, I think that it's just learning how to let go of all the ways in which we're not ourselves and just continue to step into who we want to be and give permission for that. And so what I hope is that by me being me and me sharing my story, me sharing these things that I'm working through and unedited, unfiltered, is that it's giving you a permission to be you and express yourself. And we're all still trying to figure that out, right? Like, we're all going on our own individual journey, but also collectively. And so I'm just going to move this over. I can be in the shade. Okay, there we go. yeah, so collectively we're all coming together to support each other through that process. So me being me, I give you the permission to be you. It's also not conditional, but it's a reminder that you can be you. And additionally, I'm working through my own journey and continuing to remind myself who I am every day. And that takes work. It's a process. It takes, time. And I can also accept right now that I'm doing my best, and that's all I need. That's all I need to do. And so for me right now, what that looks like is me showing up and sharing on these vlogs, I guess you could say. And what I plan to do in the future, when I was contemplating on what does that even look like, how do I want to show up, I kept thinking and holding on to this idea of I just want to express and I just want to entertain and create and just be in that and just share. And everything is just an expression of who I am. And I'm just seeing this little butterfly fly. That's so cute. And so what that looks like for me is maybe that's me singing and sharing my music. Maybe that's me talking about a concept that I just learned about. And I'm like, oh, this is so cool. I want to share this with people. Maybe that means I'm, guiding people through a program. Maybe that's I'm hosting a retreat and creating an experience. Maybe that's I'm teaching people how to cook or we're cooking together. Maybe that's, it could be whatever. It could be me showing the beautiful place that I'm in and just getting to share that with you because I'm so excited about life. And that's what lights me up. That's what makes me feel happy. And so just continuously reminding myself that I'm allowed to do that, and I can also do that as my contribution to the world, just being me and sharing my gifts, and that's it. And it's whew, it feels really good, and I get all excited about it because I'm I just get to be Katie, and that makes me feel really excited about life. And yeah, so as far as what my intention is with creating these videos is me being an expression of myself and me getting to share me with the world. And there will be a series of different videos that come from this channel. And I'm really excited to share that with you all because it's just me being me. And I hope it inspires other people to maybe think a little bit differently about life or contemplate how you want to show up in your life and ask, am I fully living in my truth? Am I fully embodying who I am and how I want to show up in the world? Because, theoretically, we're only on this earth for a finite period of time. Even time is an illusion, right? But how do you want to spend that time? Who do you want to be? How do you want to show up? And that's completely different for everybody. And so for me, that's me expressing my truth in this way. And so yeah, so follow along, subscribe to my channel, and let's go on this journey together because that sounds really fun. It's fun. It's fun for me, and I hope it's fun for you. And so, yeah, that also might mean having conversations with people. When I think about what else I love to do, I love to talk, and I've received that reflection for some people saying, hey, Katie, you really talk a lot. And I'm I just have a lot to say. And then sometimes I'm quiet. But when I have a lot to say, I'm speaking a lot. And this is stream of consciousness as you're getting to witness today. And yeah, so what I'm thinking about what I love to do is I love to have conversations with people, and I love to learn more about their journey and who they are at the core and what experiences that they've had and how they see the world, because there's so many different ways to live a life. There's so many different experiences that we can have. And I just want to highlight that. And I love learning because it helps to open up my expansion and my understanding of life itself and possibilities. And I also want to share that with you guys because, we don't really know what's possible until we learn about it and then start to experience it. And so, yeah, I'm starting to feel into the name of this podcast / YouTube series. And the first thing that came to mind is, so my business is Pure Pathways Collective now, Sunnyside Katie LLC. And I have my Pure Pathways publications on Substack, where I do weekly reflections and shares about life. So feel free to subscribe to that. I have the link in my description below. And additionally, I'm offering new perspective to how to live life and new perspective on the world, from myself and from people around me. And I just want to share that. I want this to be a place to go to gain perspective. And so I'm thinking about calling it Pure Perspective or something with the P, because I got this like P alliteration going on. So maybe I'll stick with that. The Passionate Perspective. I don't know. Also, I might ask my Instagram crowd what they might think about the name. Or I might just pick something and just run with it, because we can always change it. You know, we're never stuck. We're never settled. We can always change our mind and always move a different direction whenever we want. So anyway, it's been a while, so I feel complete. I hope you feel complete. If you want to follow along, like I said, please subscribe to this channel, subscribe to my Substack to receive weekly emails, and then also follow me on Instagram. I'm by Catherine Ruffino. It'll also be linked in the description. And yeah, I'm excited to go along this journey with you all. Another plug, I have my next round of my group coaching program starting in March. And so that will be the detox program. I'm still feeling into how I want to either shift it, change it up a little bit, or keep it the same. I might change a couple things. But yeah, I have more information on that. If you want to book a call to learn more about that and chat with me, and we can see if it's a good fit for you, if you feel called to go on that journey to release the things that are getting in the way of you living your best life and connecting with your true self, I would be honored to guide you through that. So mahalo, and I hope you have a lovely rest of your day. Just a little update from when I recorded earlier today. I just scaled down this mountain to get to this hideaway beach, and the amount of energy and excitement and fulfillment and happiness and joy I feel right now, because I decided to go and do something that I loved and realized that I didn't have to stay in a box. I didn't have to stay at the house. I could just take the bike and go and explore on my own. And I've had so many strangers come up to me and be like, I love your dress. They're like, hi. And I'm like, it's because I'm radiating that excited energy. And when you start to explore and just go and allow yourself to just be, it's amazing what you find and where you end up. And I mean, wow, I just need to show you guys this view, because this is insane. And how I was feeling earlier when I said that it was hard for me to feel grateful for being here, I am just over the moon with gratitude, and it is such a great feeling. So I just want to share this with you all. Like, wow.